here's where we will conclude this evening. So remember, everybody was saying how Trump is Hitler, and if he gets in again, the country's over, and all of this wonderful stuff. Well, as it turns out, one of the loudest, maybe the loudest of them all, was Morning Joe Scarborough, and Mika Brzezinski. They really have a lot to say about Donald Trump and how evil and terrible he is.
Maybe he'll leave.
But apparently today that wasn't the case. This morning, they had something to say regarding visiting Mar-a-Lago over the weekend.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit.
So essentially, the reason you went on this little soiree down to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is because you wanted to see if the president-elect is going to basically totally fire your asses. Is that the reason you went down there?
With your little tails between your legs?
Little tails between your legs.
Pathetic.
Corporate media. Let me know the last time that Joe Scarborough or Mika Brzezinski ever talked about a living wage or single-payer healthcare on their show. Probably never. That would be my guess. I would say they've never, ever mentioned it before. And if they did, it was in the context
I can't even look at them and not
are.
think of Don't Look Up. I can't.
Well, that's who they were based on.
Well, especially her. But it's just, that's how ridiculous these two are to me. These two are like Muppets, like Statler and Waldorf, but a male-female version. Like they're Muppets. They're just talking head white Muppets.
You know what this is the equivalent of, Colin? See if you could find that photo of Trump and Romney, if you know which one I'm talking about. That was always the best. We'll continue.
And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking,
what issues? Which issues?
Well, because I have a feeling, it's Mika, right?
Yes.
I have a feeling, Mika, that the issues, your issues, and my issues are not the same issues.
Probably not.
So I'm going to say what the pressing issues are. Like, that's one thing. If you don't say what those issues are, I'm going to assume that they're not my issues.
Yeah. Finish it up.
why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us. I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
Okay, so when I see this mea culpa being espoused, this is what I think of. This is what I remember, and I think you do too. Remember how Romney would bash Trump left and right and say how the party is finished if we nominate him and this and that. And then almost immediately after the election is over and Trump wins, and this is basically Romney showing up to dinner with Trump with his tail between his legs.
The most pitiful was Ted Cruz, though.
Yes. Well, Ted Cruz,
the most pitiful of all the fall in line bootlickers is Ted Cruz. All right. So we have this article, and this is what I want to say.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet?
We're not done yet.
What are we not done with?
We're not done.
Okay.
You didn't think that the president-elect didn't have a response to this today? That he didn't respond in kind
to
what these two knuckleheads had to say? The president-elect had something to say.
Okay, so let's see it. Where is it?
Oh, you guys are going to get a kick out of this one. This morning, Morning Joe and Mika, who owe their careers to me went on their show and claimed to have met with me. They made it sound like we had a summit. The truth is, Joe begged to meet with me after our big win. When I finally agreed, he approached me like a scolded
It's
dog.
so funny. I said tail between their legs.
He should consider himself lucky that I didn't have him thrown out of beautiful Mar-a-Lago.
Oh my God.
I can't read all of it, Colin. I need the rest of it.
Why? You can't fit it on the thing, huh? It might not be in the picture.
Colin, cue it up. However you got to do it.
He heard you. Don't talk like that to him.
Oh, my fault. I didn't realize the scroll was cutting it off. I apologize.
I don't know what it is.
Mika was charming as usual. The fact that he stuck that in there right at his wife. Oh man. It's almost like saying, oh, and I'm totally going to take your wife at the same time. That is so like.
And I look at people like Joe. He is so like cucked.
But that's how Trump.
He's so cucked.
But that's how Trump is going to get back at people. He is just going to embarrass the shit out of them.
Good.
That's Trump's way of revenge. Like he is going to make them the laughing stock of social media.
Those two to me are just, they're not serious. Like, do people actually watch them and think that that's news? Like, they're really like Muppets. They're not even they're ridiculous.
Well, who are they catering to?
The same people that watch The View.
Exactly. It's like a circle jerk of viewership.
Right. And that's why they are all so shocked that they couldn't win an election. Yeah, it's because there's not that many of you. You're in a very small echo chamber.
Remember when Joe was going around saying that old Joe was as sharp as a tack, as good as ever, totally fine, no problem.
But so did Kamala.
They
were all talking about how he was just so sharp and everything was great until, Clooney writes a letter. And then all of a sudden now we have to, get Kamala in there.
The party is definitely in a very bad way.